Hello, beautiful soul family. Rebecca here, your vibe mentor. Welcome to Monday Mastery, where I give an intuitive read on the energies, what we've experienced this past week, as well as our current state and advice for moving forward. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Last week was another doozy. We are mid-eclipse season right now. We had an eclipse about a week ago, and we have another one in 1 week from today, which is interesting because the eclipses have fallen on Mondays, which is a fun little added bonus to these sessions. Last week was a flare-filled week from a geomagnetic perspective. We had massive amounts of flares every single day. It was pretty crazy. So many so that I have to read the list to you. So I'm looking at my sticky note here just to share with you. Yesterday, we had a M 9.4 solar flare, which is almost an X-class solar flare. I'm sorry, yesterday was just an M flare. The 9.4 was on Sunday. On Friday, we had 7 C class and 1 M class. Thursday, we had 8 C class, 1 M class, 1 X class. Wednesday, we had 8 C class, 2 M class. And Tuesday, we had 14 C class and 5 M class. And we had we had many Schumann resonance spikes, but 2 pretty significant. The most significant was Friday and Tuesday, where we hit 26 hertz. For anyone who doesn't know, 7.53 was pretty much the baseline and standard for many, many years until recent years, where we have started to see these crazy spikes. So very, very, very active. I feel like I missed an X class. I think that was it, but and that continues, which is very interesting. I have mentioned in previous videos, I see a lot of peaks in solar energy right around the new moon and the full moon. So it does not surprise me at all that we have sustained solar weather, geostorming, if you will, in between these eclipses. So it'll be interesting to see how this next week evolves. The number one go-to resource or strategy for me in these times is putting my feet on the ground. Even just lightning can be very activating for the nervous system. Certainly an eclipse is, certainly solar flares are. So I will start to get what I have now qualified as a solar weather headache. I can feel these things coming in before they even arrive. So if you struggle with this, if you find yourself solar weather sensitive like I am, put your feet on the ground, take a salt bath, go into salt water, however you can ground yourself physically. Yes, grounding meditations are great, but really Mother Earth will help discharge the excess energy from your body if you can put your feet directly on the ground. So it's really important. It's also interesting from a physical perspective. There was a lot of activity as well, which I guess is really not surprising when you think about an activated nervous system. The body's going to want to move to discharge that energy. So there was a lot of drive for physical activity. My kids are home from spring break. And so just the kind of the up and down and up and down, I'm trying to focus, but they need lunch or they need help with something or whatever it is. So however that showed up for you, if you kind of just have a lot of physical activity, paired with a sort of feeling of stuckness in the mental activity, which is interesting. There was plenty happening, but it was old. It was old stuff. And this is sort of a continuation of last week, where the South Node eclipse really brought to, you could either say it brought to the surface all the things that are in the subconscious, or to me, it really felt like we were pulled down into the underworld or the muck or the shadow, however you want to see it. There was a lot of old shadow work to do. And I've said this before, it's worth saying again. Many times I will have that feeling of like, I thought we healed this already. I thought we worked through this already. And because energy moves in a spiral, oftentimes it can feel like we're coming back around to something, but we're always at a higher level. And whenever we find ourselves back into something, we tend to heal another higher layer of it. And it's almost like we're catapulted forward even farther than we felt we were before we felt pulled back. So see that as a positive. It is very much a good thing. We are still purging old patterns. I think that's going to be a lifelong theme for us. The patterns that came up, the thought patterns especially, were very old and dense and heavy and shadowy and very dark. And the ego wanted to throw a tantrum, and it's almost easy to feel defeated or frustrated. Pessimism wanted to sneak in. It required a lot of alchemy, a lot of work. And that there's a delicate balance to that, because we collectively as society and even in the spiritual community, we have a tendency to want to avoid negative feelings. We feel like we got to stay high vibe, we got to stay up here, and we've deemed the lower frequencies and vibrations as negative. And yet sometimes they're necessary, not even sometimes, they're always necessary. Every experience that we have is necessary and leading us towards our greater good, to our highest selves, to our highest capacity and capability. So when these negative or lower emotions, more difficult, more dense emotions come up, we want to start to reframe how we see them. We want to choose a new perspective and see them as an opportunity for growth, and recognize that, the shadow is here. So that means what will come is going to be light. We're moving closer to the light. We're moving closer to oneness. We're moving closer to the ultimate bliss. And so start to appreciate, and I'm getting a little ahead of myself on the advice, but we want to recognize that this is not necessarily a bad thing. We have not done anything wrong. We're not failing. Give yourself the grace to be in it. And I've also noticed too, a lot of people are talking about this feeling of, something big is coming, or the impending shift, or some doom and gloom around the eclipses, especially. And I don't personally subscribe to that. I believe, I know we are safe and cared for. If you are on the path of awakening, if you are doing the work, if you're healing your trauma, if you're working with the body, if you're managing your thoughts, there's so many different aspects to healing and the journey. But if you're doing the work, right? If you're learning to love what is and embrace what is and surrender and accept and allow and be at peace and ground and all these good things, you're going to be okay. Remember that life and what we see outside of us is a projection of what's inside of us. It's that mirror to help us see where things need to be shifted and changed, or where we need to heal. So while we are the creators of our reality, we have free will, we have extreme powers and gifts of manifestation and creation that we have a responsibility to learn how to manage. There are also guardrails on life. There are also things that are going to keep us from driving off of the cliff. And so things like World War III or a nuclear attack, they're not going to happen. I don't even want to say I don't believe they're going to happen. I know they're not going to happen. There are guardrails to keep us safe. And yes, we will be allowed to experience the discomfort of unfortunate karma or creations that come from things within us that need to be healed. That discomfort is there to show us how to find peace, how to find joy, how to find happiness, how to heal, how to move through things. It's not there to torture us, and it is certainly not going to take us down collectively as humanity. So just start to ask that question. What am I being pushed to, right? When these difficult energies come up, they sort of back us into a corner so that we say, enough is enough. I'm done with this. We're fixing it, right? So really start to ask yourself, what are you being called to? What is being asked of here? And step into that quickly, because the delay and the procrastination and the avoidance is way worse than actually doing the thing that we've been asked to do, right? We can even learn to celebrate the darkness, right? Remembering that it's going to lead to more light. Every trigger is a gift. Every trigger helps us see where we've got work to do. And I don't even see it as a punishment. Oh, there's a trigger. Oh, I have to go into this thing. I get excited, right? It's like, yes, I found another thing. I know that means that's going to lead to greater advancement more quickly. I love the Rumi quote that says, your task is not to seek for love, but to seek and find the barriers within yourself that you have built up against it. And that applies to everything in life, not just love. Your task to abundance, your task is, I could say that a different way. Your task is not to seek abundance. Your task is not to seek love. Your task is not to seek purpose. Your task is not to seek anything outside of you, but rather look within to find the barriers that you have built up against the very thing that you seek. Because as within, so without. Your life is a reflection of everything inside of you. You're kind of like a projector projecting out your reality from your internal environment. And so really our task is just to seek and find the barriers that we have built within us, usually from trauma, usually intimately connected with an open stress response and an activated nervous system. so that we can allow it to come in. Everything that we seek is floating around us at all times. It's just a question of how quickly can we let it in. So when old stuff comes up, we have to go back to basics, right? So if it's things like negative thinking, which a lot of my clients were dealing with, I was dealing with stinking thinking, those old thoughts that were really not helpful, just seeking out the positive or the negative in every situation instead of seeing the positive. That's kind of going back to basics, right? What's the first thing most of us learned? Your thoughts create your reality, and affirmations and meditation, right? Manage your thoughts. That is like the ultimate basic lesson that most of us learn. I don't know about you, but Louise Hayes was my one of my first spiritual teachers, if you will. And she's so much about self-love and affirmations, managing your thoughts, right? Our thoughts are creating our reality. So go back to basics. If you feel like you're struggling with some really old stuff, then the basics are what is being called for, right? If you're struggling with negative thinking, if you feel like your negative thinking is worse than most, one, you're probably dealing with unhealed trauma. And two, it is all about thought management, right? There are many strategies out there. I teach one of them in my course, as well as know that open trauma loops in your body. If you have not worked with the body, somatic trauma healing to heal and close those stress responses, then your negative thinking will be amplified. We as those of us who've experienced complex trauma very much have a more difficult time seeing the positive, and our neurobiology is more focused on where's the problem because of our survival brain, which of course neuroplasticity is a real thing, can be reprogrammed. We just have to heal the trauma and learn how to close that. I do offer free 30-minute sessions, link in the description. But remember, there's other factors too, right? So if you've healed your trauma and you're still struggling with negative thinking, one, it could be the eclipse, amplifying that to help you see what else needs to be fixed. Your physical body is also a representation of your subconscious mind. So what you put in it as far as food and drink and all these things can very much affect how you feel and how you think. Did you know that 90% of serotonin is made in the gut? So if you're drinking alcohol every day, you're going to have a really hard time being happy, and you're going to feel really grumpy, and you're going to feel short-tempered and all sorts of things. So what you put in your body absolutely will affect your thinking and your ability to manage your thoughts, right? So really look at, again, back to basics, managing your thoughts, using affirmations, focus on diet and exercise. Really look at too, are your needs being met, right? For me, a 11-day stretch with no childcare is challenging. I need alone time. That is one of the things that I was created for. And so I have to make the time, not just for myself, but for my kids and my family, to make sure that my needs are met so that my negative thinking doesn't go down in a spiral, right? And then I too have struggled with this. If you tell yourself stories around why you can't meet your needs, right? I don't have childcare, therefore I get no time to myself. That's a story. We really have to be careful about the stories that we tell ourselves, because we are creators. We will create that boundary and that barrier, that block, that wall, that prison, if you will. So really look at what stories have I told myself around how I can meet my needs. Another great example that is probably more common and one of the really difficult ones to wrap our heads around is, well, I have to go to this job I don't like. I have to do this thing I don't want to do. There's no way around it. If I don't go to work, I lose my job. And of course, the catastrophizing brain wants to tell you you're going to end up homeless and all these things. But really, again, the truth is, because I've lived it, I can say this, it is still a story. You are a sovereign being. You get to walk away. You get to command to the universe, I need something better in my life now. I'm not suggesting you go and quit your job, but really look at the stories you tell yourself and look at how you limit yourself, right? Tell a new story. Sign up for one of those free sessions. Fast and detox. Really cleanse the body. Populate your microbiome with lots of live fruits and vegetables. Every fruit and every vegetable has a different microbiome of their own, which will then populate yours. So you want lots of variety. They say up to 30 plants a week is ideal. And then really prioritize your needs. Maybe it's rest, maybe it's exercise, maybe it's nature time. I would say everyone has a need for all of those things. So let's just consider those the basics and then add to it whatever you uniquely need. And most importantly, when we struggle with negative thinking, when the dense energies come up, gratitude and love, gratitude and love, gratitude and love. It is a remedy for everything you could possibly experience. Gratitude very quickly shifts you out of those negative thought patterns. And if you're really, really low, just look for neutral. You don't even have to go for gratitude. Just go, I'm glad I'm alive today. I'm glad there's a roof over my head right now. I'm glad the lights turned on. I'm glad I have running water, right? Neutral, and just start to remember how much worse it could be. I could be homeless. I could have no clothing. I could, right? And that's a little negative, but we want to just have perspective, right? Look at least I'm not in a worse way. Gratitude and love are the most important energies, feelings, and things we want to share with the world, because you get what you give. So if you dislike someone, I release you with gratitude and love. You dislike your car. Thank you. I'm so glad that you still drive. I'm so glad that you take me where I need to go. I love and appreciate you. If your home situation is not exactly as you would like it to be, still bless it with love. Again, we're going back to basics and Louise Hayes, gratitude and love. If you can think of nothing else, just walk around your life saying gratitude and love, gratitude and love, right? Love is everything. Love is the solution to all, and gratitude for love will amplify it, right? I'm going to link below the video that I love from Louise Hayes, and she has so many. So all you have to do is search gratitude, self-love, Louise Hayes, any one of those things, and she will likely pop up. And listen to either the video link below. I have no affiliation, no benefit to it. I like to use it personally, so maybe you'll like to use it too. Otherwise, remember to cultivate your internal environment consciously every single day, multiple times a day. Certainly first thing in the morning and last thing at night, if not a couple times throughout the day. Gratitude and love, gratitude and love. Every time you see something you don't like, I release it with gratitude and love, and really look at, what do I have to be grateful about, right? I am not particularly loving this person in front of me. They're very nasty and mean to me. I wish I was not with them, right? But I can say to them, I really appreciate the lessons that you have given me. I'm really grateful for how much stronger I am because of our experience. I send you love. Thank you for serving your purpose and playing your role perfectly, just as we agreed you would. Thank you. I release you with gratitude and love. All right, my friends, I love you. Please do make sure you share if anybody could benefit, and if anyone you know could benefit from this, I would greatly appreciate it. Give me a thumbs up. It's super helpful for the channel. It helps us grow. And yeah, drop me a comment. I'd love to hear from you. Next time. Namaste. Sending love and gratitude.